Hello and welcome to episode number 12 of the Hobbies and Happiness podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dan.
Hey everyone, and I'm Jim.
And today we are going to be talking about deck building games. With that out of the way, let's just jump right in. Let's go. So, yeah, like I said, today is all about deck building games. Deck building games are a lot of fun, but you know what? Before we even get into deck building games, Jim, there's a couple things. So, we've got an event coming up.
Yeah, I know.
We do.
We're aiming for something.
And we're not going to tell you about it.
You're not going to tell me, Dan.
No, we will talk about it at the end of this episode. So stick around, stick around to the end of the episode, and we will we have a little surprise that we want.
I can't wait to tell everyone.
We want to let everybody in on. So stick around for that. But before we even get into this topic, what we're going to talk about today, Jim.
Yes.
This weekend was fun, man.
I know.
We had a lot of fun this weekend.
I know. Yesterday was something else.
What time did you get home yesterday? You want to tell everybody?
I think I came over here at like 7 o'clock. Yeah, it was like 7 because then we had the meeting and then we played games and whatnot.
Yeah, we had a lot going on last night.
I didn't get home till 3 a.m. All right, and that is too late for me nowadays because I had to wake up, take my girlfriend to the train station. I got like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Of sleep, and
then you went back to bed, right?
I know I had to go back home and then wait for my girlfriend's ma to then be taken to work.
And then you went to bed.
No, no, Dan.
Why?
Then I had to take care of the doggos.
Yeah.
And then I laid down. And I'm like, all right, now I can finally go to sleep. I could not go to sleep. My brain was awake at that point now.
Don't you, dude? I hate it. I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
I'm physically so tired, but I can't shut my brain off. I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, it was rough.
Oh, dude.
So,
yeah, I hear you. So
like, my whole day was like shot to poop.
Today?
Yeah, it was dreadful because I was doing random stuff and then I was like, all right, I'm going to lay down. So I laid down in my room on the floor, right? So I was like, all right, I know I'm going to be able to take a little nap here. And then I laid there for about an hour, woke up ridiculously tired still, went laid in the bed for another hour and a half. The dogs went crazy, woke me up. My ma came over to drop off some stuff, except I didn't realize it. I gave her a call as soon as I saw the message, and I looked out the window and she was starting to pull away. And I'm like, come back.
Sorry.
Like, well, I dropped off this stuff already. It's outside. And she's like, but yeah, we got other stuff we got to get to. So yeah. And my whole day was just ruined from being out till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. We're at that age to where we need sleep.
It's something.
But you know what, Jim? It was worth it, dude.
Yeah, the last night was good.
So we played a couple of games last night that I never played before.
Yeah.
I never played 10,000.
Yeah. Or also known as Farkle,
yes.
apparently. I never knew it as that, though.
But wasn't Farkle with 6 dice?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
But you can also play, so 10,000 is either played with 6 or 5 dice.
So 10,000 was very similar to a game that we love to play called Pass the Pigs.
Okay.
So
you told me about this one.
It's the same type of thing where you're rolling pigs.
Did we talk about this in the past with 10,000?
Yes, yeah.
I know we talked about your roll the pigs.
Yes. Did you bring up 10,000?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think you did because I don't remember it.
Okay.
You might have, and I just can't remember it. That is a very real possibility.
Yeah, 10,000 just the push your luck game.
Yes. So. And those are fun.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and so Pass the Pigs is the same thing, except instead of dice, you're rolling pigs.
Yep.
So it a little bit more interesting, but still
when you were going over the how you score points in that and how it's like you pretty much never remember all the different possibilities, and I don't know. Yeah, it just seemed rough.
Yeah.
It's like if it lands on its left shoulder,
yep,
and its front right hoof is
Yep.
not touching the floor.
Yep. Oh, that's a double leaning jowler.
Yeah, that one. All right.
I don't know.
I believe you, Dan.
Yeah. So normally I just have like the pictures out in front of me,
Yeah.
and that way I know, okay, that one is this,
Yeah.
that one is this.
Yeah.
Put them together, and that's 150 points. Boom.
There you go.
That was So it's very similar. So you like Pass the Pigs? Just use dice and call it 10,000.
Yeah.
Same type of
There
thing.
you go. Or play Farkle.
Yep.
Same thing. All
Yep.
the same stuff.
And then we played a couple of games of Commander.
Yes. Those were something else. Holy moly.
I did not think that first game was gonna go the way it
I
did.
did not either,
So
man.
it's funny. So
both of the games didn't go the way I thought they were going to go.
But the first one, even more so because of the I don't even know how to pronounce it. Oh gosh.
Borbagirmos?
Borgabirmos.
Enrage.
Enraged.
Borbagirmos.
Borgabirmos
I don't
Enraged.
know.
I don't even know how to pronounce it.
It's Gruul. It's 8 mana.
Yeah.
It's a big boy.
And he has an activated ability
Yeah.
to where you can discard a land
Yeah.
to deal 3 damage to target creature or player.
Yeah. Well, it's any target.
Well, yeah. So
Yeah.
creature or
This was printed before they changed the thing.
So it's
of
errata?
Planeswalker. Yeah.
Well, you know what?
I'm fairly certain because all the old cards that had that were errated
Okay.
to where it would be like, all right, I'm going to target face, but I'm going to redirect to the Planeswalker because that's how it worked back then.
I'm looking it up because I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm very curious here.
Yeah, for sure.
So here it is. So Borborgamos Enraged. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Discard a land card. Borborgamos Enraged deals 3 damage to any target.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds about
Except on the card it says target creature or player.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Because it was written before.
Right. So
What set it was
so
it
was
from or
errated.
something? Or that one specifically?
Gate Crash.
Okay.
Well, there's only one.
Oh, it was only one?
It's only
oh, yeah,
printed
that
once.
was so long ago.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
crazy. But it's only $1
Yeah, Return to Ravnica.
because it costs 8 mana.
Yeah,
8 mana. So
8 mana, that guy was crazy.
Okay, so the reason this was hilarious, right, was because our friend.
Oh, he did give us permission to say his name. He told me last night.
All right, cool. All right.
Yeah.
So our friend Noah, played this deck, right? And so it's Borborgamos is the commander, and the entire deck is all lands. It is all lands. So all
he
mountains
made a troll deck.
and swamps. Or excuse me, mountains and forests.
Yeah.
What am I
Don't worry, I wouldn't want to say it neither, Dan.
Yeah. So Jim was playing Niv Mizzet.
Oh yeah, Niv Mizzet Perun, which is red and blue.
And I played Kenrith.
Yeah.
It was a deck that I've built, and it was the first time I've been able to play it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of classify it as a political / group hug deck. It's not group hug.
I was gonna say we need to not call it group hug.
No, it's not. It is much more a political deck than anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, but there are group hug elements because there's a lot of cards that let everyone else draw more cards.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's go over what group hug is.
Well, what I'm saying is there are those elements. It's not a group hug deck.
No, I'm more
all.
so meaning because there are people that don't know what
sure,
group
of course,
even
yeah.
is.
So group hug basically means you're helping out the table, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cards in Magic to where have universal effects to where there's a card it's called Horn of Greed where it says whenever any player plays a land card, they get to draw a card.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's cards like that where they have universal effects.
Yeah.
So I believe Horn of Greed is actually in that deck.
Yes, it was. It got milled.
Yeah.
Second game. Yeah, I remember it.
Because everything got milled in the second game. So there's cards like Horn of Greed, Rites of Flourishing, which give every player at the table another land drop, and I believe they also get to draw another card at the beginning of their upkeep. So there's a lot of cards that have those kinds of effects in the deck. Yeah. But that's more so to balance out all the other cards that are more political. Yeah. That basically it's like, hey, table, what do we want here?
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah.
So it was the first time that I played that deck, right? Yeah. And so what we found out was there's a card in the deck called Girapper Ori, right?
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Oh
where
my god, that was crazy.
so that's a card that gives every player at the table another land drop. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, normally in your turn, you can play one land card from your hand.
Hmm.
But with this card on the table, everyone gets an additional one. And then it also has a text that states if on every player's upkeep, if they have 0 cards in hand, they get to draw 3 cards on their upkeep.
Yeah.
So if they have no cards in their hand, they
Yeah.
draw 4 cards
Yeah.
on their turn.
So they draw at upkeep. They draw 3
They draw
cards
3
from the
cards.
one specific card. Go to draw step, draw, go to 4, and then it's just okay.
So if Borborgamos is on the field and the Ori is on the field,
Yeah.
he just drew
He draws
12 damage.
Yeah. Yeah. He just draws 4 cards every single turn because and they're all lands. Every other card he's drawing is a land.
Every card is a land.
Yeah.
So in with that card on the table, that's 12 damage every single
turn. Yeah. And he's control.
And the only reason I was able to stay in it at all was because I could gain life from Kenrith.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
Except
only reason.
He's killing it every turn.
He was.
It didn't matter.
It didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm gonna do here.
That was rough.
The only thing I was trying to do was just kill him every turn.
Yeah.
Because then you just have to keep paying to bring him back.
So Dan, check this out, right? The turn you played that red card to go take his enraged Borborgamos, whatever.
Yeah, Molten Primordial.
I thought about countering that card. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm like, I just want this game over because Michael was here. I'm just like, this game needs to end.
Right.
You know? Right. So I really thought about it, but then I was like, wait a minute. I just drew into 1.
I just win here.
I just drew into top deck lethal.
Yep.
And just won the game.
Yep. So yeah. So deck building games, huh?
Yeah, Dan. There's something else.
I mean, Magic is technically a deck building game, right?
Yeah.
Except deck building games are a little bit more. They're a little bit more different. Where with deck building games, yes, you are building a deck. However, the cards that you are using to build the deck are in front of you, right at the start of the game, and you start with each player essentially starts with a basic set of cards, and then you're going as you proceed through the game. You are choosing cards that you want to. You're essentially buying cards. It depends on the game, right? But you're basically just buying cards that are available to everybody, and then you're upgrading your deck as you go.
Yeah, so there are like a bunch of different of these deck builders out there. Some of them do pay attention to like attacking creatures on the field or attacking the other player, if we're talking about Star Realm or Hero Realm. But it's also, I have 5 cards. I have 3 gold. There's nothing on the board I can buy with 3 gold exactly, but I really like this card that costs like 2 gold. Because it makes my deck a little bit stronger than the pure basic form of the list.
Right.
You know? So then the next time you shuffle your discard back into the deck, you have that little bit of chance to get that better card than the pure like bad ones. That's kind of to say bad ones.
Yeah.
Just basic.
No, right. You know? So this is the entry in Wikipedia. I'm just actually gonna read it here. So according to Wikipedia, a deck building game is a card game or board game where construction of a deck is a main element of gameplay. It is similar to collectible card games, CCGs, in that each player has their own deck, like Magic, like we were talking about. However, unlike CCGs, the cards are not sold in randomized packs, and the majority of the deck is built during the game instead of before the game. Typically, the cards provide a type of game currency that allows players to buy more cards to add to their decks. If the game has similar mechanics but doesn't use cards, it is frequently called a pool building game. So, you know, there's a game that came out not too long ago called Wingspan.
Yeah.
Wingspan is kind of a deck building game. I mean, I believe it's classified as an engine building game.
Okay.
Have you ever played Wingspan?
No, I haven't.
Oh, we're gonna have to change that, man. Wingspan is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it is a game of cards, right? And essentially, you are buying cards and putting them into your deck, quote unquote, except
Mhm.
your deck is full of birds and is like an aviary, and you put the birds
Oh,
into your aviary,
yeah.
and you only have a certain number of spots in each location.
Mhm.
And then as you take these actions, you are essentially activating all of these birds
Yeah.
to gain you more resources, and then essentially you're building an engine,
Yeah.
right? And so your engine is going off as you progress through the game.
Mhm.
So it's it has deck building elements, I think.
Okay.
But like I said, it is classified as an engine building game, but we are not talking about engine building games. We are talking about deck building games.
Builders.
And so we played a deck building game last night,
Yeah.
frequently considered, or not even considered, it is the
Yeah,
OG
I think
deck
so.
builder, is Dominion. Dominion was released in 2008, I believe. Yes,
Really?
2008.
Wow.
Yep. Dominion was
The
released
original
in
deck builder 08?
yeah, it's
Wow,
08.
that seems
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I mean, and then I'm looking at this list here, and then I think it looks like the most recent one after that. So Dominion was published by Rio Grande Games,
Mhm.
and they released another one in '08 and '09 called Arctic Scavengers.
Okay.
And then there was another one released in '09 by Alderac called Thunderstone. Um,
I've seen that one.
Now
Thunderstone.
here's an
It's a huge box.
here's an interesting thing though.
Mhm.
There is a game on this list, according to Wikipedia, that does say '07. It's StarCraft the board game by Fantasy Flight Games. I've
Oh.
never, I mean, obviously I know what StarCraft is.
They have this at a game store we went to semi
They
recently.
did. Really?
Yeah, that thing was like $500 or something
That
like that.
does not
It was
surprise
nuts.
me. So I'd have to look into this game just to see how kind of how this game functions.
Yeah.
But I'm interested. But Dominion is widely considered to be the original
Yeah.
deck builder.
Yeah.
And we played that last night.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that I have actually played Dominion.
Mhm.
The first deck building game that I played was DC deck building game.
Same.
A
Same.
fantastic deck builder.
Yeah.
I do enjoy DC Comics. And Batman is my guy. I love Batman. I do enjoy Batman.
Yeah. He uses a lot of equipments.
He does.
Well, he
yes.
likes to.
Yes. In the game, yes. So naturally, DC Deck Builder was the game that I kind of navigated towards.
Yeah.
So the DC Deck Builder is a lot of fun.
Mhm.
There is a Marvel version, quote unquote, but it is a different game called Marvel
Yeah.
Legendary, a Marvel deck building game.
Yeah.
So that's with the Marvel characters, and I think Legendary. Oh boy, I'm very curious here when Legendary began being published,
Mhm.
because I know it's been around for a long time.
Mhm.
I'd have to look into it to see when when they started publishing the game. But
I think back to our previous episode or two previous ones where we were like, we should probably start doing research before.
too much work though.
But yeah,
But the other thing is too is we can I do enjoy doing research for stuff like this.
yeah,
But the other thing too is when we start talking about it,
yeah,
like I think of even more things
Yeah.
that just come up
yeah, exactly.
through the course of conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
So
We're doing it live.
yeah, we're doing it live, guys. So anyway, Dominion was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The first time that I played it, the game is fun. I
Mhm.
mean, I love deck building games in general,
Yeah.
right? And so for us, I mean, both Jim and I really love and enjoy card games.
Yeah.
And so Jim, tell everybody what you enjoy most about card games. Because and
Hand shuffling, Dan.
yeah. because like I know I think I know why.
Dan, you know exactly why I like card games. You tasted the wrath a little bit last night with Dominion. I just started going for attack cards, attacking people's hands. Just be like, everyone just discard too.
So there was this one card. So the thing with Dominion, right, is everybody starts with basic cards, right? And it's essentially just resources
Yeah.
and a couple of victory points, right?
Yep.
And the other thing is you start with, I think it's 10 different sets of what they're called kingdom cards.
Yeah. I think it's 10 or 12. one of the two.
I believe it's 10
Is it
sets.
10?
I believe it's 10 sets. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But I think it's 10. So anyway, there was of those 10 cards, right? There was one card. One card of those 10 that had any sort of interaction with other players.
Yeah.
One.
And I love
What is the one card that Jim first purchased when he was able to? Any takers? Any takers? Yeah, that's right. That card.
If you guys remember, my favorite thing about card games was just screwing people over. We talked about it with Villainous. We talked about it with Magic and how the colors all work together. And yeah, my favorite thing is just messing with people in these games. I was telling myself at the start of that game, I'm like, I don't even want to win. I'm just like, I just want to screw you guys over.
It was funny. It was funny too, because as we're sitting there playing, like I knew you were going to do that, right? I wasn't even mad.
Yeah.
I wasn't even mad because I knew it was happening, and I'm just like,
it's like I prepared myself.
And then I'm just gonna have fun. And I am very competitive, but last night I just had fun. I don't think I won. I don't win anything.
No.
I don't think I won anything.
No. I was actually kind of surprised. I ain't gonna lie. That you
I
didn't go off a little
too.
bit, you know. Yeah, I was a little surprised there.
Yeah, I had fun. And honestly, like for me, it was just it was the four of us just hanging out. And for those that don't know, I mean, probably nobody knows, but my brother-in-law Michael, who's been on the show, he is going to be leaving us. He's going to be moving away, taking a job in different state. So, I've purposefully made it. I wanted to get him over a couple more times before he left, just to hang out with us before he left. And we were able to get Noah over here, and we had a good time last night. And I didn't care about winning. I was just like, dude, we're having a good time just hanging out and playing games. So that was fun. And that was all I cared about. I didn't really care about winning. And I'm like, so I can do this. It is possible.
Yeah. It's I think it's better that way, Dan.
No, dude, of course it is. 100%.
Now that you've experienced both ways of doing
100% it is. And that's the thing, like I do enjoy winning, and like you said before, like and I know this, right?
Yeah.
The time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what the time or the place. I mean, even if it's a tournament, you still lose. It's like, whatever, dude. Whatever. It's just try and have fun. And that's the thing. And like I don't think we talked about that enough in that episode because of toxicity.
Yeah.
Right. You just gotta get it's honestly it's all about getting in the mindset for yourself of you just have to try and convince yourself that what are you there to do?
Yeah.
Just try to have fun.
Mentally prepare yourself.
Yeah, above everything else, just have fun. Yep. Enjoy the time that you're spending with your friends or your family. Yep. And that's that. Yep. Try to not worry about anything else. I do a terrible job at that a lot of times, which is why Jim was like, I was surprised. So anyway, that was kind of an aside.
Yeah.
But deck building games, dude, there's Dominion, dude, that was fun.
Yeah.
The thing with Dominion is how many.
Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about with because we brought up DC Deck Builder.
Yeah.
And like these games have the core, everything is like tends to be like the same. You start with 10 cards, you draw 5, you play them all.
Right.
At the end of your turn, you discard everything in your hand, draw back up to 5 cards, right?
Right.
And then you're building your deck with the resources that you get. But with DC Deck Builder and also Marvel Legends, not Marvel Legends, DC Deck Builder, you start the game as one of the superheroes from DC.
Yes.
And, they get added effects. So it kind of tells you how you can start building your deck or what the cards you want to start looking for.
A good example of that is one of the characters in the base game is Flash. Yeah. Flash, and his ability is he always goes first.
Yeah, because obviously he's the Flash.
He's the Flash.
Yeah.
And so Batman cares about equipment cards. Mm-hmm. There's different types of cards. And equipment is a big type of card in the game.
Yep.
And so, because he's Batman, he cares about equipment cards. Superman cares about superpowers.
Yeah.
There are superpowers cards.
Yeah. He adds one to everything that's not like the basic attack or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's a big difference with DC Deck Builder, with other deck builders, because with a lot of other deck builders, everyone just starts with the same sets of cards. And so the thing with DC Deck Builder is in looking into it, I found out there's a pretty heavy competitive scene for
Ooh,
DC Deck
wow.
Builder. Very interesting. So
Okay.
I was looking into there's a database. It's like dcdeckbuilding.com or something.
Okay.
Um
Makes sense.
they have a ban list. It's like
Wow.
but it was funny because I'm seeing all these cards and it's like everything is banned.
Oh,
Everything is banned. I'm like, what in the world? So it's dcdeckbuilding.info, right?
okay.
So if I go here to advanced search, okay, if I just search for, let's just search for cards that are banned. No, we'll search cards that are legal and banned, and we're just gonna pull up all of these
You'll
cards.
get a
Okay?
smaller list if you look for the legal cards,
Right.
apparently.
But so I'm seeing these cards banned, banned, banned,
Oh,
banned,
wow.
legal, legal, banned, legal, 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 banned, 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 legal, 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 banned, 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 legal, banned, banned, banned. Do you see what I mean?
What?
Like, isn't this crazy?
Holy cow.
This is insane.
There's a lot
Banned.
of banned.
There's a
Oh
lot
my
of
god.
banned cards. So like I
Wow.
don't know enough about this game. Especially
So
not
what do they
enough,
do with those copies? They just like throw them out the window or
I don't
something?
know, man. That's the thing. My assumption would
Oh,
be
oh, those are banned.
as they're putting the base game together,
Yeah.
they're just taking all the banned cards out. But that's a ton of cards.
Yeah, it is.
Literally every line banned. Oh my gosh, look at all these banned. Look at all these banned cards, dude. This is
Wow.
insane.
Yeah.
So
That's a
so you
lot.
see what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't even know there was a thing about
Yeah,
that.
dude, it's crazy. So yeah, I'm like, I enjoy this game. I don't
Hmm.
know. I'd kind of be interested to get involved into the competitive scene a little bit, just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
But I don't. After looking at that, dude,
Yeah.
I don't know,
I
man.
don't know
I
about
don't know.
that.
I mean, I enjoy deck building games, but I don't know if I enjoy that much.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff, dude.
Yeah.
So like and I've been looking up card databases for a bunch of games,
Hmm.
the past couple weeks just because I need to.
Yeah.
And
For stuff in the future.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. What are you talking about? What stuff?
Oh, for personal stuff,
Yeah.
personal use.
Personal projects. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some personal projects I'm working on. Anyway, okay. So and then also Red Rising is a new game.
Hmm.
Okay. I believe that does have some deck building elements. I still have yet to play that game. I want to play that game. Want
Yeah.
to bust that game out.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of deck building elements in that game. So, so I mean, you've got deck building games are a very specific type of genre of games, but there are a lot of games that also have like deck building elements involved in games too. So, like
Hmm.
we've talked about, like we enjoy Magic. We like Magic, Pokemon,
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh. There are elements of deck building games in those because they essentially are deck builders, right? Depending on, I think every format basically you're building kind of a deck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, these games came before deck builders anyway.
Yeah.
Because deck builders were built afterwards.
Which honestly, now that I'm more so thinking about it, and aside from like the poker and like blackjack and all those things, because I'm not counting those for card games.
Right.
But like
Right.
when we brought up how like old like Catan is or Carcassonne, like going back even further.
Yeah.
And when you said 2008 for deck builders, I'm like, what the really? I was surprised. But then we also talked about how Magic was like the first pretty much card game.
Yeah. And that was
So or
93.
deck builders, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just like really surprised that it then took them what 15 years to make like 15 years to make a deck builder game like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems really strange to me.
It is.
But,
But ever since Dominion,
Mhm.
they've been like
they've been popping
they've been
off. with
popping
these
off. Yeah. Because Dominion, there are 13 different expansions for Dominion.
Ooh,
13.
holy cow.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't
Yeah.
it?
That's a lot.
Yeah. So and going through the database, it looks like they've had about an expansion every year.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Last year I think was Menagerie in 2020.
Okay.
So I'll be interested to see if they come out. I'm assuming they're going to come out with one this year.
Yeah.
So I need to start adding to my collection.
Yeah, they'll call it a pandemic or something.
How they and what were those? They weren't witch doctors, but the ones with the weird masks, like they
Uh,
had with the
plague
long noses.
doctors.
There you
Yeah,
go,
plague
plague
doctor.
doctors. That's what they'll call it. They'll call it
Yeah.
plague doctor.
They'll call it medieval and just be like, everyone gets the plague at the start of the game.
I think there is an expansion called medieval.
Oh, is there?
I think.
I guess I won't be surprised.
I'm looking at it right now. Actually, oh no, Renaissance.
Oh, okay. Close enough.
Close enough.
Close enough.
They have Dark Ages too.
All right. Yeah.
Dark Ages is
what that one
probably
then,
is probably it. So with Dark Ages, let's see. We have there were 500 card. Whoa, 500 cards in the set.
What?
That's crazy. In Dark Ages,
Wow.
wow, that 35 Kingdom card piles. So 35 new cards.
Wow.
So with Dark Ages, they say cards that have an additional effect when trashed, cards that care about the trash, cards that upgrade themselves, ways to upgrade other cards, shelters, initial 3 cards, ruins, bad cards, spoils, one use golds. Interesting. Spoils are one use gold.
Okay.
Okay. Looters, cards that give ruins. Interesting.
Huh.
That is interesting.
They do. You know, after you play the base game, you're kind of just like, what else can they add to this? And then after reading some things, we're like,
Dude,
what is that?
dude, it's crazy. I mean, we played with 10 cards.
Yeah,
Or I think it was 10.
Yeah, I think it was 10.
I think it was 10. So let's just say 10. So we play 10, maybe 12.
Yeah. So I think inside
Well,
the game, there's
Kingdom
probably
Kingdom cards,
Yeah.
let's say, because
So-
they were Kingdom cards.
Yeah. So I think there's probably like what 20 or 25 different cards in the base game.
25.
25.
25 in the first edition, 26 in the second.
Okay. So then, and
Kingdom cards.
Okay. So
So
then,
cards that actually do something. Basically.
yeah. So you take 10 of those cards and you put it out onto the board, and that's the scenario that you guys are playing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's interesting too, because when Noah was saying scenario, I'm like, what are you talking about scenario?
Yeah.
So what actually they do is in the rule book, they kind of give you like, I guess they do give you scenarios because they kind of give you like 1 or 2 words of highlighting what's it about, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And so they'll say, and so the cards that we played with, they said recommended for your first game.
Yeah.
Play with these 10 cards. So I
Mhm.
pulled those 10 cards out. So sorry to interrupt you.
Oh. Yeah. So
Because I wanted to say because I was so confused
with the scenario
with what he
thing,
was
yeah.
saying. I'm like,
Yeah.
scenario? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
I was just so
you brought that up
confused.
yesterday too.
Yeah.
And so with these scenarios, right? And you could play all the ones that they give you inside the booklet, but then you can just start changing things up however you want because there are
Mhm.
25 or 26 different cards in there. So it'd be like, well, I wasn't the biggest fan of the seller in the first one, or I wasn't the biggest fan
I
of
did
the
like the
market
seller, though.
or whatever. I mean, the market was also good. So was the seller.
They were, yeah.
Yeah, those.
They were all
I
good
mean, they were all
cards,
good.
man.
But it's just
Yeah.
like, well, I don't really want to do that because there's a lot of other cards that also have actions, and I don't
Yeah.
want to set it up to where, you know, Noah dropped a seller, he discarded his whole hand, drew the rest of his deck,
hand, yeah.
and then he was just like, my engine's complete, and then next turn he got nothing. He's just like 4 gold, okay,
Yep.
and
Yep.
so with that, it's like, well, now we're playing 10, and then there's 15 new cards. But now we start taking things out and you're adjusting the board to however you like it or
Yeah.
however you want to change things up a bit.
Yeah.
You know? But now in all the other expansions, you were like 35 new cards in
Yeah.
this one, 20 in this other
Yeah.
one. And it's just like the possibilities of this game are ridiculously
and,
high.
And one other thing that they do too is they have what are called, they call them randomizer cards.
Yeah.
So with each kingdom card, right? There's a separate card,
That's
right,
right.
that has a different border, so you know it's separate from those actual cards,
Yeah.
right? The set, right? And so you put all of those randomizer cards together, you shuffle them up, and then you can just pick 10, and then those are the cards you're gonna play with.
Oh my gosh. That's
Which is cool. Like
Yeah.
that's it's another way. It's another
Yeah.
way to add replayability and
Yeah.
variety to those types of games.
Yeah. I wonder what the possibilities are for different outcomes of
You
like,
could figure it out.
Yeah, I know you can.
Yeah.
You just gotta like have the numbers of every
I just
single
right.
expansion.
Right. I would just, which I do have them here. I do have them here.
What do you do? Just like times the first one by the second and then continue forward or something like that?
No. You take So what you do is, you'd add them all up, okay? And so let's just say that there's a total of 200 different types of cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 200 different cards, right? So what you would do is you would line up the numbers. So it would be 200 times 199 times 198 times 197 times 196.
Oh,
That's how you
okay.
figure that out.
Okay, I gotcha.
I can't remember. There's a specific name for that.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
Okay.
I learned it in college once, but I rarely do use this math, but it is actually very useful
Right.
for statistics and figuring out possibility or different types of it's statistics is what it is.
Yeah.
So if you're into card games, chances are you're probably into some kind of statistics.
Yeah.
When we were playing 10,000 last night, we were talking all about statistics.
Oh, yeah.
It was
we
all
were.
about statistics. Which again, like if you're not even technically minded, but if you're analytical,
Mhm.
if you have any sort, if you like thinking about the analytics, you're probably gonna enjoy these types of games.
Oh yeah.
Which is why I love them.
Or you're not going to enjoy it because the RNG of like, oh, I should have gotten it at this point.
Well,
You're like,
right. So,
but I didn't.
well, there was one time last night where like I rolled all of my dice, right? And they're like, okay, you can re-roll again just to keep pressing your luck, right? And I'm like, because what you basically have to do is you have to get a 1 or a 5 on any. So we have what,
every
5?
single roll.
We had
you have
5
to
dice, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well I have a 30. It was basically I have a 33% chance of losing.
Yeah.
So the odds are in my favor. So why wouldn't I go?
Yeah.
And I rolled it and I lost. I was like,
yeah,
okay.
it was pretty rough. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Or
rough.
no. Every single
wasn't
die, because you rolled all 5 and every single die had a third chance of being successful.
Yeah.
But you had 5 chances
which is still 30, which total is still 33%.
Of I think you said for failing though. I don't know the odds that none of them, it would have been a 66% chance of failure.
No.
Well, if two of the three possibilities are failures on the die.
Right. So again, I it's too late at night for me to be thinking. Okay. It honestly is. Whatever Jim said.
each die itself has you have to either get a 5 or a 1
right
on every individual die in order to continue.
So you need
my bad, not every individual one. It's
just one.
Yeah.
Right.
So
all you need is one. So it's not I don't believe the statistics are like you have 33% chance of succeeding.
Yeah.
Total. It might be.
I don't know.
But on one dice, you do have a 33% chance of succeeding.
Yeah.
So it's 33% times 5, basically.
Yeah.
So it's something like that, dude. I don't know. I
was gonna say, and then we get into the gambler's paradox at this point.
Right.
So
yeah, we just get done talking about how we enjoy thinking analytically.
Yeah, because even though the first one got a 6, the next one shouldn't, but that specific die is still its individual thing, so you still have the 66% chance of failing on that die.
Right.
So,
right.
As a whole, it's probably not that high, but every single individual one of those things, yes, it is.
Yeah.
So,
but it's still not a bad decision to re-roll all of your dice.
Oh yeah, you pretty much do it because I'll be fine, and then
which happened quite a few times.
Yeah, it happened to me like 3 turns in a row. It's just like
it did.
Boom, first roll, nothing. All right, I suck. All right, go ahead. Yeah, it happens a lot more often than you would think.
It does. Which is, it's still fun. I never realized that just rolling dice would actually just be that fun, and we weren't doing anything else other than rolling dice.
Yeah, that was pretty much.
But then when I thought about it, I'm like, wait a minute, this is just basically pass the pigs. Okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Because you're banking your points to go to the next round, basically. And
my grandparents taught me that game, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah.
So
that is fun.
Yeah,
that's fun. Anyway, Anyway, talking about statistics.
That's all these games really are.
I
It's the
know. I
numbers,
know. That's the whole thing.
statistics.
Well, like, and it's interesting too. Like when I really got into Magic, right? And I was actually thinking about it too. I was wondering when I got into Magic, and then thinking about when did I start playing DC Deck Builder? Because DC, like I said, DC Deck Builder was the first deck builder that I played. I can't remember if I played DC Deck Builder first or if I played Magic first. I think I probably played Magic first.
Okay.
So I probably got into Magic, and then for me, Magic was the gateway into all these other games.
Yeah. You were sitting by DC
Because
Deck Builder and you're like, what is this?
Because through Magic is how I found Grapple,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
how I got really heavily into this space, basically.
Yeah.
Which I
This
kind
hobby.
of always knew was out there,
Yeah.
but I never really not necessarily experienced it, but I never pursued it. There we go. That's
Right.
what I'm looking for.
Right.
I was always the type of person that just like sat back and just did what I was told.
I didn't really know these kinds of gaming stores
that's
were
a
a
lie.
thing
That's a
until
lie.
like 12 years ago. I didn't even know this was like really a thing.
I don't think neither did I. I don't
Yeah.
I don't think I knew they were an actual thing.
Yeah.
Like I'd always
Little
seen them. I
nuts.
remember when I was a kid walking through the mall and like
Yeah.
seeing like KB Toys
Yeah.
and like Games
Oh, man,
Workshop.
I love
Remember
KB
Games
Toys.
Workshop?
Yeah.
Like I saw Games Workshop in
Used
the
to
mall.
be in the mall. Yeah.
Yeah. There is one not that far away.
Yeah. Oh, I
And-
remember. I think I was in like junior high, so like 7th or 8th grade. I went into one not knowing anything about Games Workshop, just wanted to check it out.
Yeah.
And I played the miniatures game for Lord of the Rings, and the one of the
I
workers.
heard about that. I heard.
Yeah,
I heard there was a Lord
it-
of the Rings.
It is
mini.
Yeah, that was the first one I like got into, and then after I played a game, we were in the Mines of Moria, right? And I got
Mines of Moria.
and you're never gonna guess I got to play as the bad guys. So I got to play as a bunch of goblins. It was great.
Why does that not surprise me?
He had his what, like 3 characters in the center of the board. My goblins were like all surrounding them. They had to get to the door and like get out in order to
Right.
win. Right.
Right.
And so at first I was just like, well, I can just swarm them, right? But then I'm like, no, I should post some guys up at the door to like stop them a little bit,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So I post some dudes up at the door, then I swarmed in with the rest of my guys, took them out in one turn.
Okay.
I'm just like, all right, just got to go fast, you know? Got to go faster.
Okay.
And so that was the first time I ever played minis game. I didn't even know stores like that existed in like 7th grade.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
honestly didn't even understand that store was still a thing. Even though I was there, I didn't understand it as a concept at the time.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And so, especially because I wasn't like in miniatures game. My dad never played this stuff. We
Yeah.
never talked about it, never knew it was
Right.
a thing. It was just like, oh, we like Lord of the Rings.
I never
Check it out.
really understood miniature games.
Yeah.
Minis. And I still have yet to play like an actual full blown minis games. Like I know a whole lot more about them now.
Yeah.
And I think they're really cool.
Mhm.
And there's a couple of minis games that we're gonna get into for sure.
Yeah.
I
just got into,
into
Yeah. I was like, I just got into Warhammer. So,
yes,
and
yes.
that's a good one. That is a good
and
one.
Warhammer's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
What,
how long?
80s or something?
Has it really been that long?
Yeah, I know it's been since 80s. I don't know if it's been longer. Probably double check that right quick. I am really interested. So I just recently got into Warhammer 40K. This game's been out for a while. My dad, even when I brought it up to him, he was like, I've been wanting to paint some of those characters
Yeah.
for a bunch of years.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
because the stuff's been around since he was younger. And so when I told him about it, he was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And so looked more into it. I saw some creature guys that reminded me of like World of Warcraft, the Lich King, and like the Frozen Scourge and things along those lines. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to give him a shot.
All right, so I'm going to read something here
Oh, man.
real quick. So according to Wikipedia, I'm in the history. In
Yeah.
1982, Rick Priestley joined Citadel Miniatures,
Hmm.
a subsidiary of Games Workshop that produced miniature figurines for use in D&D.
Hmm.
Brian Ansell, the manager of Citadel, asked Priestley to develop a medieval fantasy miniature war game that would be given away for free to customers so as to encourage them to buy into
Mm.
more miniatures.
Yeah.
So D&D did not require players to use miniature figurines,
Yep.
and even when players used them, they rarely needed more than a handful.
Yep.
The result was Warhammer Fantasy Battle, which was released in 1983 to great
Wow.
success.
83.
First edition Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader was 1987. Second edition was 93.
Yeah.
Third edition 98. Fourth edition was 04. Fifth edition was 08. Sixth edition was 2012. Seventh edition was 2014.
Mhm.
Eighth edition 2017, and they're on ninth edition, which came out in 2020.
So the thing about it is, right? Ninth edition is out, but it's only for some of the armies. So it's like every single month or two, they come out with a new book for ninth edition of all of the different armies.
Yeah.
So I just got into Death Guard. That one came out in like February, March range, I believe.
Yeah.
Then they are starting to work on one for the orcs. They're starting to do Battle Sisters. So it's like every single 2 months, they'll come out with a new thing. So some armies don't have a ninth edition. They still only have their 8th edition book.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. The Warhammer universe has been around for a long time. There's a bunch of different Warhammer stuff.
Mhm.
They've got Total War Warhammer, which I
The
love.
video games and whatnot.
They've got a bunch. They
Yeah.
have a bunch of different.
Vermintide. Oh, I love Vermintide.
Oh, Vermintide's good. Yeah.
Oh,
They've
man.
got they have an RTS. I can't remember what the RTS was called. There's a bunch of different games.
They also have Blood Bowl, which is a football
Oh,
version.
yeah, they do. Is
of the game.
that licensed Warhammer? Is that Warhammer
I believe so.
licensed?
Yeah.
Really?
I believe so.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And they also have like Kill Team, which is just, it's like Warhammer 40K, like a large scale minis game. But it's brought down a bit more. So rather than like a 2,000 point game, all these little characters cost points, so 2,000 points, but it comes down to like 100 points. So
Yeah.
it's not like you have to spend $500 to make
Right.
a 2,000 point team
Right.
and so on and so forth. So if you just want to dabble with it a little bit,
Right.
paint up a few minis, play the games a little bit.
Right.
But then they also have different like themes for it. So 40K is super futuristic,
Yes.
but Age of Sigmar is going more back into fantasy, medieval fantasy type things.
yeah, which that's the kind of stuff that I like.
Yeah.
I like the Lord of the Rings style
Oh yeah.
fantasy.
Every
stuff.
time I go into Games Workshop and like I'm there to check out the Warhammer 40K stuff, because if I'm like with Noah, we're going there for that most likely. I'm always wanting to look at the Lord of the Rings. I'll be like, oh man, we got the Nazgul over there.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
dude.
The Army of the Dead as
I
well.
love-
Oh my god.
I'm just, dude.
Bad.
I am thinking about all of those, the Army of the Dead,
Yeah.
in a
yeah.
miniature,
Ooh.
the Nazgul.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's the
Woo.
the war elephants.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, dude.
I talked about it with my dad, and he was like, "Well, you already know who I'd play. He loves the Riders of Rohan in the movie, so he's just like hands down playing Rohan all day."
Oh,
So
dude. You're sitting right in front of the Lord of the Rings, the card game. Oh,
that game
man.
was great. Too.
I love that game so much,
Yeah.
man. Oh, I wish they were still making.
Yeah.
I still wish they were making stuff for that game.
I didn't realize how many expansions there were for that game. There was a ton.
There's a ton, and we gonna get them all.
Yeah, that game is a whole lot.
That game is a lot of fun, man. Living card games are just dude, they're so awesome.
Damn, card games. Oh,
I
God.
know. So okay, so
Uh,
I was trying to think about this. I'm like, what is it about card games
yeah.
that we both like?
Oh, I guess I kind of already went over why I like the whole theory. crafting
Yes,
stuff,
yeah, and
so.
that's why I knew like you would
Yeah.
love deck building games.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. As soon as I played DC Deck Builder, I was like hooked on it.
yeah, because the awesome thing about it is like You can build every game. You can be like, I'm going to build something different.
Yeah.
Because like with Dominion, right?
Mhm.
You can play with whatever cards you want, like whatever kingdom cards you want.
Mhm.
And then you can be like, all right, so I'm going to play with the same sets of cards. But first game, I'm going to try and build a deck that does this one thing, right?
Yeah.
And then the next game, you can be like, okay, same sets of cards, but we're going to try and build a deck that does something a little bit different.
Yeah.
And that's something that like a lot of times I don't really think about. I'm just like, oh, I like that card. I like that card. I like
Yeah.
that card.
Yeah.
But and again, like applying it to Magic, it's like you're thinking about the game in a completely different way when you're building a deck.
That's for sure.
When you're building a deck, you're thinking about it a lot differently than you are when you're playing it.
Mhm.
So with deck building games, like it forces you to become a better deck builder,
Mhm.
right? So for applications like Magic or Pokemon, right?
Mhm.
Pick your favorite TCG or your CCG.
Yeah.
Playing a deck building game is going to make you be a better deck builder in those other games.
Yeah.
Because you have to think about it. You have to think about your deck from the standpoint of build, like how am I building it to
Mhm.
work together?
Yeah.
How am I going to build it to synergize
Mhm.
with itself?
Yeah.
So that's what I love that about deck building games, because it forces you to be a better card game player,
Yeah.
basically.
Because also, so we'll continue with like Dominion a little bit. So like you have these 10 cards
Mhm.
and pretty much everyone knows the possibilities of which a deck someone can make, right?
Right.
So you could go down the line and be like, I'll take this one, take the new card, take the next card, take the next card, right? But then like you're spreading what you want your deck to do as a
Right.
whole really wide,
Right.
to where you're like, I'm going to take this same card 3 times. Now you have redundancy in the deck, like you do in Magic, like you do
Right.
in Pokemon, because you're
Right.
like, this is a good card.
Yep.
I need it. This is how I want to build this deck.
Yep.
You know, so then you get like 3 or 4 copies of it. And it's like, boom, every single turn I'm attacking. If you don't have the card that counters it, the attack's going
Yep.
through,
Yep.
then you're going to lose 2 cards.
And
you
then
know?
like if you built an engine the way Noah kind of did, and
Yeah.
he kind of
he went off.
He was getting
Yeah.
there. His own main problem was he didn't have enough resources in his deck.
Yeah.
He just did not
didn't.
have enough resources
Yeah.
in his deck. Right. But he was literally almost every turn, it was, okay, I'm gonna play out this hand, and it's okay, there's my entire deck.
Yeah. If he was able to do it to where every single turn he was able to play his whole deck,
Yep.
he got to 9 resources, which is big enough to buy
Yep.
anything in the game.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
So he
Which
could
is
just spend,
which is the highest victory point card,
Yeah.
which was 8.
yeah, which is 8.
cost
So then he would have had 1 left over to
Right.
do whatever with.
Right.
But
Right.
regardless, the 6 victory points
Right.
could have been great.
Yep.
But the fact was, if he didn't draw into his engine to
Yeah.
draw the whole deck,
Right.
it kind of fell apart.
Yes.
Or it
Which
was
it
like,
did a couple
oh, I had
times.
or it would be like, oh, I have a few of the pieces. Let me see if I can draw into it. And then it's like, well, I fizzled out. So,
Yeah.
well, now the next part of my deck, I'm going to fizzle out again, most likely.
Right. And it brings me to also the conversation we had last week when we talked about Villainous.
Mhm.
And I remember I mentioned that I was listening to this one podcast, and somebody was saying like the big complaints with Villainous is the randomness. The
Yeah.
randomness. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, again, it's a card game.
Yeah.
Right. And so
It's been around since the old Western times.
yeah, right. And so that's the thing. Like with card games, like I think I prefer.
Yeah.
I'd rather there be a bit of randomness than, okay, I'm gonna play this game. I'm gonna have the exact same experience every single time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I would much prefer a little bit of variance
Yeah.
to where if I sit down and play the game 5 times, I'd rather have 5 different experiences
Yeah.
than the same experience 5 times.
Yeah.
Right.
Because then, like, you're adapting to whatever it is, the possibilities for you.
Right.
So
Right.
it's always like keeping you on your toes
Right.
as well.
Right. And again, if we apply that to, okay, well, when you're building a deck, you want as little variance as possible.
Yeah.
Right. You want consistency.
Which comes in with the redundancy of cards
right.
as well.
Right.
Or the cards that draw you more cards.
Right.
So
Right. It's just still, even when you build the redundancy, like in your deck,
Mhm.
you're still going to have a little bit of variance.
Oh,
And
yeah.
There's going to be
yeah,
a
exactly.
it's going to play differently.
Because
And
say
that's it.
I was gonna say, because like say you have the one copy in a deck, right? So
Right.
say you have 40 cards in the deck or 60, you know, the one copy that, or the chance you're going to get that 1 out of 60 cards is exactly that,
Yeah.
you know, but then you have 2 of those cards. Well, now it's the 1 out of 30. Go up even further to the 3 cards, to the
Right.
4 cards. It brings it down even further. And then you're like, well, now I'm drawing 7 cards at the start of my turn as well.
Yeah.
So now, you know, then the odds become even more likely that you're going to start collecting those cards
Right.
when you need them or
Right.
want them the
Right.
most.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, for Jim and I, it's just these kinds of games just really pique our interest
Yeah.
in the way that we think.
Yeah.
And so that's we love that. We absolutely love that about these kinds of
Yeah.
games. So, you know what, like if you're listening to this and like you've only really played Magic or you've only played Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or any other sort of TCG or CCG,
Mhm.
you should definitely check out deck building games.
For
Check
sure.
out DC. Like if you're a Batman fan, check out DC Deck Builder. If you like Marvel, check out Legendary.
Yeah.
Legendary also has a ton of expansions.
Yeah.
I'd have to look. I would have to look up their
Ascension as
list.
well. Oh,
Ascension,
man.
I've heard so many great things about.
Ascension is a great one.
So here's what I wanted to do. Here's what I want to do. Have you played? Oh yes, Ascension. Yes, I've played
Yeah.
Ascension. I love Ascension.
Yeah.
That's another one that I need to pick up.
Yeah.
Really, really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, I've got the deck building games entry in Wikipedia pulled up here. And then we're just gonna go through. I'm just gonna quickly run through this
man.
list here, okay?
Man.
Adventure Time, Cartoon Network, Crossover Crisis, Cryptozoic. That goes with the DC Deck Builder.
Yeah,
Cryptozoic is the publisher who published DC Deck Building.
Yep.
Aeon's End.
Oh,
I've heard about
like
this
that's
and
one
I
of the
wanna
best
play.
ones. I heard that was one of the best ones.
Yes. I want to get into this so
Yeah.
bad. Arctic Scavengers, Rio Grande 09, Archmage Rebirth, Archmage Creative Commons Games 2018, Archmage Enchanted Realm, and Archmage New Horizons. Haven't heard of that, so I would like to look into that.
Wait, we're just on A's.
There's not a lot. There's not a lot on here.
I'm like, he's gone down so many for A's.
No, yeah, there's a lot of A's. This is weird.
Yeah.
Ascension, Chronicle of the Godslayer. There's a bunch of different expansions for Ascension.
Yeah.
Attack on Titan, also by Cryptozoic.
Really?
There's an Attack on Titan.
deck build?
Yes.
All right, I'm getting it.
Capcom
play it
Street
next week.
Fighter deck building
That's
game.
right. I know about that
I've
one.
heard of this game and
Yeah.
I want to check that out. Clank by Renegade Game Studios.
Oh, yeah. There's also the
2016.
legacy version of that
There
as well.
is. There's Clank in Space. There's a bunch of different Clank games. Crisis expansion packs. Those go with DC Deck Builder.
'Cause it's like the one-on-one version.
Those
of
are
the game?
no cooperative.
Oh, that's
Crisis is the
co-op one.
cooperative.
Oh,
Because
okay.
DC Deck Builder is
right.
kind of competitive originally. We already talked about DC Comics deck building game, Dominion. We've talked about Rio Grande, Eschaton, Archon Games 2016.
Eschaton?
Yeah, yep, Eschaton. Not heard of it.
Okay.
Forever Evil, another DC deck builder offshoot.
Yeah.
So as opposed to playing a hero, you take control of a villain.
Yeah.
And you play as a villain. I've heard Forever Evil is one of the best
Oh,
expansions.
that one. Oh, yeah. That was like the second one I got. Oh, do you have it up
I
there?
do have it right
Okay,
there.
yeah, that one's. I love that one because you're able to give weaknesses to people,
Yes.
like the curses,
Yeah.
and just like screw people
Yeah.
over.
Yep.
That's besides the point.
Hero Realms.
Oh, and you can take their victory points as well. You
Oh,
can
you
steal
can?
victory
Oh,
points.
dude.
It's dirty.
Yeah. I've heard good things about Forever Evil. It's on my shelf.
Yeah.
I need to play it. Hero Realms and Star Realms.
Those ones are
Those
great.
are fantastic.
Those ones are great.
Those are more so Hero Realms and Star Realms. I've only played Star Realms, but I also need to get Hero Realms. They're made by White Wizard
we
Games.
have that. I have that one.
Yeah.
we'll
So what the thing about these ones are they're head to head.
Yeah.
Is Hero Realms is head to head as well?
You can actually play 4 people with Hero Realms.
But it is still
yes, it's still competitive.
Yes, it's still
Yeah.
competitive, right?
Yeah.
Right, as opposed to cooperative.
Yeah.
Justice Society of America, that's just an expansion for DC Deck Builder. Legendary, Multiverse, again, they have all these DC deck building expansions because they are kind of separate and they can be played separately.
Yeah.
Mystic Veil by Alderock, 2016.
Which most people don't even actually mix in the Forever Evil
Yeah.
because you're playing as
Yes.
the supervillain rather than the superhero,
Right.
and you're versing the superheroes.
Right.
So it kind of makes for like
Right.
a weird dynamic.
Right. Yeah. Rick and Morty, Close Rick, also Cryptozoic.
Okay.
Another Rick and Morty, the Rick Shank Redemption. Rivals, Batman versus Joker, Cryptozoic. Rivals, Green Lantern versus Sinestro. Shards of Infinity.
Oh, he skipped it. Apparently, there's also a Rivals of Catan deck building game.
There is.
Yeah, it's in a smaller box though. I'm gonna have to pick it up.
I'll have to play that, dude. That's interesting. We said StarCraft, Star Realms, Teen Titans Go. Again, more Cryptozoic expansions.
Yeah.
Thunderstone by Alderock in 2009 and Trains by Alderock in 2012.
Wow.
So again, this is according to Wikipedia as of the date of the recording. Okay. So that's what's listed on there. I'm sure that there are. So I'm looking at another game on my shelf, Dune, and it's Dune Imperium. I've heard so many amazing things about this game, but it is technically, I believe, classified as a deck builder.
Okay.
There's worker placement parts in the game as well. I don't know how it would technically be considered, like what genre it would be classified as, but there are deck building elements to that.
We'll just call it a mutt.
That's
what it's called. It's a mutt.
So yeah, as you can see, just going off of that, there's quite a bit of deck building games out there. So yeah. So Jim, anything that we forgot to mention?
Well, I mean, we mentioned
about the deck building games.
Oh, I was going to say something else.
No, yeah. But before we move on to anything else, did we? Is there anything else you wanted to say about the deck building games in general?
So they all pretty much have the base idea of, building the whole deck list or putting your whole deck together, but they all have kind of different ways of going about setting up the cards. Dominion, you have the 10, you know what's going to be there. Right. DC Deck Builder, you have a stack of cards that you shuffle up, and then you reveal 5 or something,
something like that. Well, because and then you have the villain cards, which are
the villains themselves.
Yeah, and then so Legendary is kind of similar, right? To where you shuffle up all the cards separately, and then you just reveal X number.
Yeah, but then it's different character based cards. So.
Right.
It's rather than in DC Deck Builder, you are Superman, getting off his abilities and building your deck. And Legendary, you're buying Hulk cards.
Yeah, you're building out your
or
team.
Storm.
Yeah, you're building out your team kind of thing.
And then you're just you playing these cards.
Right. Yeah. That is one thing I do like about the DC Deck Builder. It's you are one of the characters versus Marvel. It's just hey, I'm recruiting them to my team.
And in some of these games, the way you win is by getting the victory points by the end of the game. You just have the most. Or in these other ones like Star Realm, Hero Realm, you are attacking the other person.
Right.
So you could just be like,
dude, Star Realms is so much fun.
Oh, I know. It's you can set it up to where it's I'm getting a bunch of resources, I'm buying things, and then your opponent's just but you're dead.
Yeah.
So I don't care about your resources,
That is a common thing with Jim, and that's always his rationale is, you know what? I don't really care what you're doing. I'm just going to kill you.
Yeah, player removal, Dan. Tell me I'm wrong. Change my mind.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong. And that's funny, though, because Jim finds that fun.
Yeah.
And I find building value engines, that's fun. So I could be having fun, but then I just lose because Jim's just bolt.
Yeah, you're not stopping me from messing with you, and it's just I'm gonna keep doing it. Or if you tried to, I'm just gonna be all right, it didn't really affect me. I'm gonna keep messing with you.
Oh, dude, yes.
But in our Dominion game last night, kind of the same thing, right? So how the game ends, right?
You're not wrong.
So how the game ends, right? In the center, the 10 different groups of cards.
Yes.
It pretty much ends as soon as 3 of those stacks run out.
Right.
Right. And then the person with the most VP will win the game.
Right.
So after I noticed and I even asked, I'm so how does the game end?
And I thought, should I tell him how this game actually ends or not? Because I knew where you were headed.
Oh, yeah.
I knew where you were headed.
I got to start closing this thing out or something.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I knew exactly where you were headed.
So I asked, and it was there were 2 piles gone at that point, and I remembered they were like,
Were there?
all right.
Were there?
Yeah, there were 2 piles gone.
Yeah, there were.
It was
'Cause there
moats
was just
gone
yeah.
and village.
Yeah.
Those 2 were gone.
Yeah.
So
And one pile had like 3 cards left, I think, at that point.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even
I
remember
can't remember
exactly.
which one, no.
So cellar was the last one to be gone at that point. But so what I started doing was, I know Noah was going off with his engine. I know Michael wasn't. Michael was getting screwed over by me. I was just like, militia, Michael, discard 2 cards.
Because he did, because so with the militia, that was the one that interacted with everybody, and there was one card that was a reaction that you could reveal. It was the moat where you could reveal it, and basically you're unaffected. By
the militia couldn't
by
pass the moat.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. Which
So,
again, flavor.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so
That's one of the things I really enjoy about these games is just the flavor. I think it's cool. Anyway.
Yeah,
sorry.
so Noah, I think, had the best engine, like when it went off. He went through his whole deck like he was able to pop off.
The problem was he wasn't buying cards that helped him win.
Yeah.
He was just adding cards basically to try and further his engine, which are cool, but if you're not using that engine to win the game, then what are you doing?
Yeah, especially when we're that close to the game ending.
Come on,
and
Noah.
I was just like, you know what? I actually have enough buying power to start buying the 3 victory points every single turn.
And how did you realize that, Jim? Come on, I just want to hear it.
So Dan, what happened 2 turns before myself, I noticed someone buy the victory points. I'm like, you know what? I think I got to start doing that. So I was just like, all right, every single turn, buy 3. Buy 3. If someone plays militia and I got to discard down, I need to keep, I need to get to 5 gold. Get to 5 gold, buy 3 every single turn until the game is over.
And my problem was I was not actually building a deck. I was just buying a bunch of cards and adding it to my pile.
Yeah.
I wasn't really buying a deck to where I could have a lot of resources available to me to further my victory condition.
Yeah.
So that was just, and
it was also your first time playing.
Correct. I was still having fun.
Yeah.
It was still a lot of fun for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when I saw that the first pile was gone, I'm like, oh crap, I need to start doing something or else I'm just going to lose. So I started buying the cards. And I'm like, oh crap, Jim saw what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, I did. Because Noah had the base 3 points. I think Michael also had the base 3 points. I'm like, no one else is getting these victory points. I saw you get I think you bought a 3 and then maybe like another single copy because you ended the game with 8.
Yes.
And you start with 3. Yep. So so I saw Dan buy it. I'm just like, I know I get more resources than Dan. I just got to start going for it.
Yep. And you did. Every turn you were like, buy 3 victory points.
Yeah.
Buy 3 victory points.
And then
you did.
Yeah, I got to like 12 or something. And then you ended the game. I'm like, whoo. All right. I'm glad someone else ended it after I was able to like buy some stuff.
Yeah.
So,
so anyway, if you've never played Dominion, check it out. I mean, that is the OG deck builder. It's got the most, like we said, there's 13 different expansions out there.
Yep.
If you've ever played Slay the Spire on Steam I'm pretty sure it's on a lot of different platforms.
It's on like everything.
It's on a lot of different platforms now.
On Xbox, PlayStation, the Switch.
Fantastic game. That is also a deck builder. I love that game so much.
Yeah.
It's on mobile. it's on everywhere, dude.
Is it on mobile?
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. I know it's on my iPad right here.
Okay.
100% it is. So I'm sure it's on.
Well, I just know sometimes like there are different apps you can get on an iPad in comparison to the mobile.
Yeah, right.
So,
right. But I do believe it's on mobile.
Okay.
We'll check when we're done, but I'm curious as well. So
that
anyway,
game is great.
Check it. We cannot recommend enough these games. You have to check them out, especially if you love card games. Check out these games. So
even if you don't play TCGs, you're just like a fan of card games, of poker,
if
blackjack,
if
those
you
types
like
of things.
DC, if you like Batman or you like Marvel, check out the game. You know, you might enjoy these games. They are a lot of fun.
Yep.
So anyway, so with that, let's talk about this announcement we've got.
Oh man.
So here's what we are doing. On July 10th, 2021, we are having the first Hobbies and Happiness community game night. We're calling it a game night. It's going to be from 1 p.m. to
Yep.
5 p.m. We'll wait to let you know. Well, more details to follow.
Yeah.
More details to follow. But for now, if you are in the New Lenox area, New Lenox, Illinois, southwest suburbs of Chicago, come on out.
Over by Joliet. If you're in the city, you can take the Metro.
Yep. We are not there's a metro station very, very close.
Yeah.
What rail line is that?
The one that's trailing Cedar. I don't know what that one's called.
Man, it's been
but
it's been a while.
But the one that's on 30 that trails 30 is Rock Island.
Yes, yeah. And I think I believe there's also a BNSF line that also comes down here. I believe, and that's actually the one that ran by Grapple. I believe.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Yeah.
But anyway, so July 10th, like we said, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. More details to follow. But for now, if you are in the area, pencil that date in.
I was also going to say, join the Discord as well. We'll be talking more about it in the future.
Yeah, we're going to be posting this in the Discord probably very soon.
Yeah.
Very, very soon we'll be posting more information about this in the Discord. Speaking of the Discord, you can hop on to the Discord if you are on Discord at all. There's there's an invitation always attached to the podcast notes. So always check that out if you are on Discord. We would highly encourage you to join our community over there. We are all about community, and that is one of the biggest reasons we are putting on this event. We want to meet people in the community. We want to bring together people of our community. I'm looking at my game shelf here. I'm going to be bringing just about everything on that shelf.
I'm pretty much bringing
event.
everything I got too. So.
If you play Magic, bring your cards, bring your decks,
bring Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
There's
bring Pokemon.
There's gonna be people here. We're bringing all of our decks.
Bring Flesh and Blood.
I'm
down.
Yes, bring Flesh and Blood. Whatever you have. Yeah, we cannot look forward enough to this event. We are real looking forward. We've been planning this for a little bit, but we're excited to finally announce this to you guys and really make this possible. So I'm kind of getting nervous. Honestly, like just announcing it, I'm kind of getting a little nervous. But we're really excited. This is going to be our first public event for the community.
The thing I'm most stoked about is not only are we bringing together the people that we already know, for like the first time, all of us getting together in a long time, but all the new people we're also going to meet. We can't look forward to this enough. But we're really, really excited. Almost a month away.
So we're gonna be mentioning this on every episode up till the event. So like we said, more details to follow. We will be posting the majority of the information on the Discord. Once we get all of our other social media links up and active, we will be announcing it there as well. So keep an eye on all of our socials. Speaking of socials, Jim, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Morgan HNH.
You can find me on Twitter at _DG Campbell and on Instagram at Daniel.G.Campbell. Like we said, relatively soon, hopefully within the week, worst case next week, we're going to be starting up all of the other social media accounts for Hobbies and Happiness. So those will go live shortly. I feel like I've been saying this for like a month at least.
It takes a lot. You know what we're working on, Dan.
I know, dude.
It
takes a long time. But you know what? Like one thing that going through this has taught me a lot more patience. We've been pretty patient throughout this process, and it's paying off. We think we've got a lot of stuff that we've been building, and we're
gonna have another thing.
Yep. So
I was just tapping on that thing. That's why I was like, soon we'll have another thing. Tapping on it.
Yeah. So I mean, with that, thanks for being here, Jim.
Thanks everyone.
I love this. This was a fun conversation.
This was a good one.
I love this. So
it felt good.
Yeah. So anyway, with that, thanks everybody for being here, and we will catch you next week.
Take care, everyone.
All right. See everybody.